what are we doing? A book review. I almost forgot, y'all. It's been so long since one, I went live, and two, I've done a book review at all. So yeah, here we go. I said I was gonna start doing lives more. Um, just to see what the algorithm do for me. See if it brings some new people over and all of the things. So we're doing this book review. I haven't done a book review in a while, but I have been reading books. So I gotta get better with it. I'm trying to see about Tuesday doing my Real Housewives of Atlanta and maybe start trying to do Wednesday. Start trying to do Wednesday for a book review, or I'll just keep it on Thursdays. We shall see. So, so y'all, let's hop into it. If it's your first time here for a book review, I do a few little things. I kind of have like this little, like this little document that I do where I'll be like, okay, my first impressions of the book, this, that, and the third. What would I rate it? This, that, and the third. You know, just kind of easing into the book. So, I'm probably gonna be here a while. This book did something to me. And I will add, it's been a while since I've actually read this book. It's been, let's see, maybe 2 or 3 book club meetings ago. So maybe like March or April, something like that. So when I get to my notes, if it feel like I'm reading my notes because I don't remember it, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's what's happening. So, Fly Girl by Omar Tyree. So my first impressions of the book, because I did not read this book when I was younger. I know a lot of girls in my age group, a lot of people, you know, when we were in that 12 to 15 range, a lot of people was reading this book. Me, not so much. My little nasty self was in them Zane books. If it ain't have no freaky escapades going on, what we reading this for? I don't want to read about no teenage girl love story. I can live that. I can live that. I got friends where I can look at them and see what their teenage girl love story was. So I was not interested in this book at all growing up. But read it for the first time as a 35-year-old adult. First impressions, I'll say I kind of went into it not knowing how to feel, because did y'all remember, was it last year or earlier this year, where Omar Tyree had did the interview with the, I think the lady off of TikTok's, ooh, I cannot remember her name, but did the interview, and he was just so outdated, so callous, so I don't care what's going on, just do my books, okay? What? Child, how we block people? I'm finna block somebody already. So, yes, y'all. Yes, that is what's going on with this one. So he did that interview and it just left a real bad taste in my mouth. And I was gonna read the book because I am dedicated to my book club. Shout out to Literature and Libations, dedicated to my book club. So I was gonna read it regardless, but that that interview had me looking sideways, right? So, second question I like to ask myself, how did this book make me feel? It really annoyed me. It made me feel disgusted. And not necessarily because it was a teenage love story and she was fast and she was all over the place, but just knowing that this came from a male perspective, I think the Spellman in me was just like, I don't like men writing books from a woman's point of view. And this was purely from Tracy's point of view. So that was a huge turnoff to me. And then hearing him in the interview and how he thinks of women, it just further confirmed how I felt reading the book, because I stayed away from the interview until after I read the book, because I didn't really want to go into it with bias. But so why did I read this book? Book club. So I like to read the Goodreads summary. The best-selling urban classic novel about a young woman coming of age in the late 1980s. Tracy Ellison, a young knockout with tall hair, and attitude, is living life as fast as she can. Motivated by the material world, she and her friends love and leave the young man who will do anything to get next to them. It's only when the world of gratuitous sex threatens heartbreak that Tracy begins to examine her life, her goals, and her sexuality. Like this video, y'all. Thank you. Like this video, y'all. Yeah. So it's about 500 pages or so, the original edition. The ratings on Goodreads was a 4.27. My rating was like a 3 stars. About 3 stars. It's urban fiction. Urban fiction. So I'm gonna get into my review of what all was going on, and then I'll get into like my favorite characters and stuff like that. Hi, thanks for joining the live. Make sure y'all like the video. So let's just jump into the Omar Tyree podcast scandal, okay? Because he seemed on 10 the whole time, and I'm like, what is your problem, sir? One of the ladies in my book club did let us know that when she had met him in person, he had came to one of our local bookstores, and she went to go get her book signed. She said that he wasn't a pleasant person, but he could not hear. Like he literally like has a hearing deficit. So it's like people had to dang near scream at him, and he's dang near screaming at us. And it was just really off-putting how the interview went and how she said her experience with him went as well. He just seemed defensive. Everything made him feel away, and he was just kind of rough the way he was coming up with answering the questions. And even the term urban literature got so many emotions out of him. And I'm like, why does that elicit a bad reaction from you? You're Black. In the greater world, that could be seen as urban, and you wrote a book. For me, I just don't see the problem with that. But the interview was just cringy. It just seemed very problematic and just very cringy. So, what's next? He said only Black men that read his books are in jail because other Black men don't care. That statement, it threw me. I didn't even know what to say to that. I just wanted to highlight that because it was like, okay, so you don't like Black people at all, huh? We can tell you don't quite like Black women from the book. When in the interview, you're telling us, yeah, Black men don't read, so they don't be reading my books unless they ain't got nothing else to do in jail. I would have even took it if he said only Black men that read my books is gay Black men. I would have even took that better than this statement, right? He had plenty of archaic views on Black women. Like I said, oh, y'all can get ballers and y'all can do that, but y'all not submissive enough to get the Black one, the good Black men. Y'all ain't submissive enough for that. Black women shouldn't be bosses. They need to be in the kitchen. He said that in this day and age, on this land. Chivalrous men are butlers. He says chivalrous men are butlers. He ain't opening car doors. He's not gonna be tentative to the woman like that because he ain't gonna be nobody butler. He's not married, huh? Okay. He said he does not read current authors. He only reads the authors that were out around his time. So Eric Jerome, Dickey, Susa Soldier, stuff like that. He don't read no new authors. And I was just like, this man. He had no public relations team. Like, he, for one, I remember at some point the book was supposed to be being made into a movie. Somehow that never happened. And just recently, it was the 25-year re-release of the books for the 25th anniversary. He have no team. He had no public relations to, brief him on what to say and what not to say in the interview, or to ask people, hey, what questions you gonna ask him, so we could just kind of run through it and make sure he don't put his foot in his mouth, because he'll look crazy. No public relations team, just him out here raw dogging it. He truly has not grown as a person at all, it seems. And the people were pissed about it because it was just so cringe and old-minded and archaic, and it just wasn't a good look all around. It just wasn't. It wasn't. So on to the book. On to the book, y'all. This book was a wild one for me. I will say this was a wild one for me. Like I said, I never read it as a teenager. A lot of people had, I think 90% of the book club had read it as a teenager, so they were rereading it. It was my first time, fresh eyes on the book. So it was a flashback. Like, we had all these options of like flashback book. And my intentions was to read all 3 books in this series, because they mentioned it in the book club. Like, we didn't have to read all 3, but it was Boss Lady and For the Love of Money. I had got all of them from the library. I was ready to read them all, but after reading Flyy Girl, and then after seeing the interview, I said, no, I'm good. I'm good. So I knew that this would be a wild book, a wild ride, from how the mom explained how she trapped the daddy. She trapped that man. She knew he was going to be something. He was in college doing what he supposed to do, grown man on his grown man flow. And she admitted to essentially trapping that man. I said, oh, this foreshadowed a lot. It foreshadowed a lot that went on in the book. The daddy, on one hand, he was a butthole. On the other hand, Patty, oh, Patty. Oh, Patty. So Patty was a mess. She just seemed very insufferable. She leaned into this baby act, this, oh, I don't know what to do, oh, you gotta save me. And eventually he got tired of it. Eventually the daddy got tired of it, and he left her. He got his own place and left her, but he would still pay the bills over there at the house, because that was still his wife. They never divorced. That was still his wife, and she had his daughter over there. He didn't seem very attentive. I don't recall him being extremely like, oh, I'm gonna come get Tracy every weekend, or nothing like that. Tracy was in them streets. Tracy was in them streets, okay? So her mom, Patty, tried dating, but she'd date, and then she let them meet Tracy, and Tracy would be like, I don't like him, don't see him no more. So she wouldn't. And then she eventually just ends up still kind of hooking up with the husband, because he'd come over there because he paid the bills. So he'd come over there when he wanted them, so they can be like this, word to, so they could be like this. And that lady ended up getting pregnant again by her husband that done moved out the house. But he still would not move back into the house. Y'all, he got her pregnant. She had the baby, and he still did not move back into that house. That was insane to me. He was like, I like my space. I like to be separate. I don't care. You got my son. All right. I see y'all when I see y'all. And ain't no telling what he had going on. He probably made a whole nother family cross town for all we know. But on to Tracy. Tracy, like I said, with her mom being childish and passive like she was, and her mom just wasn't mature and equipped enough for a girl like Tracy, okay? Tracy had this best friend, Rahima. Her and Rahima were polar opposites. Rahima just wanted to study. She wanted to make sure her grades was good. She wanted to make sure she was doing good. Tracy wanted to make sure she was looking good and getting the boys' attention. Her and Rahima end up, this is how you could tell, like, Tracy, it don't feel like she really liked Rahima like that. It just feel like, you here, so you my friend type deal. So they end up fighting. She beat Rahima up for some odd reason. I can't even remember what they got to fighting about, but they got to fighting at the house one day, y'all. What a mess. Tracy was stealing boyfriends. There was a little boy that liked Rahima. He hanging out trying to get to Rahima on her doorstep and stuff. Tracy like, what you doing over there looking for her when you could be over here looking for me? And he was like, shit. Essentially, stealing boyfriends in damn middle school. I said, where you learn this from? And as soon as she got the little boy from her friend, she didn't even want him. She like, oh, he lame. He don't measure up to the other guy. You know, you picked the wrong friend. She picked the wrong friend. She picked the wrong friend. And so she stole that boy from Rahima and didn't even really want him. She was just so fast, so young. And it was just like, I get it. It's one thing to lose your virginity as a teenager in high school or whatever, but to go from smashing this man to this guy to this guy to this guy so young, like I said, it was disgusting to me. It was disgusting to me because why you got so many sex partners at such a young age? It made me uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable. And the kids was definitely talking bad about her because she was out here being a little HOE, being a 304, as the people say. Out here being a little 304, and they was talking bad about her because she was getting around. She was getting around, and she had no shame. That was another thing about it. Like, she didn't even feel like, well, in the beginning of the book, it wasn't until the end of the book where she was like, saying, I need to change my life, you know? So just some more little highlights from the book. Her mama, I had zero respect for Patty. Back to Patty. So, like I said, her dad still paid the bills even though he was not in the house. So he gave her some back to school money, $100 to go back to school clothes shopping, right? Her and her mama go to the mall. This is how I knew her mama was childish and a little she trash. Her mama was trash. So Tracy really wanted these jeans. These were the Flyy jeans. All the rich girls, all the fly people had it. You know, she was a baddie back in her day. She had the gold chains, and she was that girl. So she needed them jeans. The jeans was $50. She bought 2 pair with her mama. And then her mama, I said with her mama, with her money that her daddy gave her. And then her mama had to end up paying for the rest of her clothes. I said, excuse me? Now, granted, the mama probably was going to have to chip in regardless, but the fact that you spent your $100 on 2 pair of jeans back in the 90s, back in like the 90s, you spending this type of money on jeans and your mama paying the rest. I said, baby, couldn't be me. Another thing, she was so self-centered. She was so selfish. She did not care about anybody but herself, right? So she was at the party. They were all at the party, her and her friends. And I can't, like I said, it's been a few months since I read the book, so I don't remember everything, but I remember her making her friends leave this party because she wanted to leave the party. They were still having fun. They were still chilling and vibing and stuff, and she gonna make them leave the party because she was ready to leave the party to chase after a boy. She was in relationships with a grown man. She was 16 with a 23-year-old. I said, what in the Rashida and Kirk Frost? What in the Rashida and Carter Frost. That's what it made me think of, y'all. I ain't even gonna. It made me think of them. And then in the hotel, smashing on old boy, and then he ends up physically abusing her. I was like, baby girl, you is 16. Slow down, you're moving way too fast. You're only 16, there's so much more to life ahead. Words Destiny's Child, but that's all I can think of. Sweet 16, do you know where you're running to? She didn't. She didn't. She was just out here in them streets, and her mama ain't have enough sense to steer her in the correct direction. She tried. She tried, but Tracy was too far gone at that point. Mercedes. Let's talk about Rahima's older sister. So, you know, when they were young girls, they looked up to Mercedes. She was cute. She was fly. She was all of that and then some. Y'all, Mercedes ends up being a cohort. Like, Tracy's with one of the guys because she's always with a drug dealer. She needed a nigga with money because you gotta buy me gold chains and Gucci and all of the things. So she was generally dating some drug dealers, and she's making a run with him one day, and she goes in with him. He's like, where the money at? Where this at? And they're like, oh, such and such upstairs. He'll be down in a minute. Oh, he with that lady again? Yeah, he with that lady again. She over there for some type deal. You know what I mean? And Tracy's like, what? People doing that? And down the stairs comes Mercedes. Mind you, she looked up to Mercedes. Mercedes was like her big sister too. Mercedes came over there, fly girl, leather jacket, smoking cigarettes, and told Tracy, girl, you need to get on birth control. This was before she found out she was a cohort. Well, before she was a cohort. You need to get on birth control, baby. And she did. She looked up to Mercedes. Mercedes' family, on the other hand, it's like Mercedes' daddy didn't fool with her. Mercedes' daddy seemed very shady to her, and he favored Rahima, the little sister. So her seeing Mercedes being all coked out, you know, up there slobbing for some coke, it's what changed her. And she realized, like, whoa, I can't be out here living fast because I don't want to end up like Mercedes. Right? So she tries to go to straight and narrow. She dates this guy that she feels like she's supposed to be, you know, dating. I guess he was a little geeky, a little nerdy at first. She fixes him up, got him looking good, and now all girls want him. She has some college girlfriends that her mama let her hang with. Now, I felt a ways about this. I felt both ways about this. Granted, these could be some friends, like, say for instance, you in high school, you a freshman. Say I'm a freshman and I'm on a cheer team, so I'm cool with all the cheerleaders. Some of the cheerleaders are seniors, so by the time I'm a sophomore, I'm a junior, they're in college, I might still hang with them, I might still keep up with them, but my mama not finna let me go hang with them on the weekends at no college parties at 16. Y'all can go kick it. You can take her to the cafe. You can take her on campus to kind of see what's going on. Even let her sit in on some of your classes. But taking her to college parties on the weekend, mm-mm. Mm-mm. It just would not have been. Mm-mm. So she ends up, you know, dating some more and everything. She has a little drug dealer boyfriend that got arrested. And that's what ended up really making her straighten up. That's what really made her straighten up, because she like, dang. Because one day the one that was like robbing the store and everything, it was just a hot mess. So she did end up straightening up. She did end up like kind of changing who she wanted to be into a better person. So I can appreciate that. Like I said, I know that the second and third book talked about her going to college. I think they said she ended up like marrying some guy that was in jail that was very smart or whatever. I don't know. I didn't read the other books. But this one was a decent book, y'all. It was decent. It was decent. It wasn't terrible. It was decent. So back to my little My little sheet sheet. Favorite characters. My favorite character was Rahima. She was the only one with her hair on straight. She made sure them grades was good. She went to her little dance classes. She went into all this stuff like Tracy was. She wasn't trying to be that girl. Okay. Least favorite characters: Tracy and her mama, Patty. We're gonna say Patty because Patty raised Tracy, so she is sub product of the foolery. So we'll say Patty is my least favorite character. As a mom, she was just childish and she did not stand on business, and she did not raise her daughter properly. And I get it, that's some people's reality. It's not like, he made this up out of thin air. That's some people's reality. Some people have mamas with no, I ain't gonna say no morals. Now I wouldn't go that far, but her not standing on business with the husband, letting the husband come around and then getting you pregnant, and he still won't move back in the house. And the way she put Tracy out, I don't know. I just feel like Tracy was a little wild, but nothing she did to me warrants putting her out. Yeah, she didn't clean up sometime. Yeah, she stayed out late sometime. But she wasn't in there cussing you out. She wasn't putting hands on her little brother. She wasn't putting your house in danger, inviting people up. Like it didn't call for putting her out. So I really had no respect for fictional character Patty, her mama. The next question that I like to ask myself: does the protagonist have any character development? Tracy does realize that she was living too fast, too wild, too free, and she did decide to slow down. So yeah, she had some character development as we got to the end of the book. Pacing. The pacing of the book was way too slow for me. I get that some moments took a lot of explaining on how she got in these relationships, how she did this, how she got her chance. I get it, but it just felt like it dragged on forever. Plot holes, the daddy, and I get he wasn't a significant part of the story, but him living away for so long, it's just like, what? We don't get to see that. Can we get Patty's point of view so we can know what her husband doing? Because that was just wild to me. Ain't no way. I don't care if you my husband or not. You living away from me and you just finna come over and hit it wrong? I don't know what you're doing over there. You can have a lady waiting in your bed right now because you won't be sleeping here with me. So that was wild to me. My ratings. So the next one I have is my rating. And if it is a series, would I continue? Like I mentioned earlier, I gave it 3 stars. It just wasn't given to me. I gave it 3 stars. And like I said, I had the other books for the series. I ain't want to read them. I took them back. I took them back. Who would you recommend this book to? Nobody needs to read this book. I'm kidding. Maybe young girls that's living too fast, they can read this as a cautionary tale. Cause did somebody have an STD in a book? Was it Tracy? I don't think it was Tracy, but I feel like somebody had an STD. Like, it was just too much. So maybe this could be a cautionary tale to a little girl that to a little preteen or a teenage girl that could be going down the wrong path, or a little girl that's got a trifling mama and finna follow in her trifling footsteps. This might be good for them, but anybody else, I'm just like, so that was my book review. That's my book review for this, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, comment. Let me know if y'all have read this book before. Have you read Flyy Girl? Have you read the others in the series? What do y'all think about the book? What do y'all think about Omar Tyree and his shenanigans that he had going on surrounding the 25th anniversary of this book? Okay, so that's it, y'all. Show me some love, like the video. Until next time, I don't know what book. I have a lot. Like I said, I read a lot of books, but I just don't get around to writing notes or doing anything to really do a review for. Right now, I am reading the Skyland series by Kennedy Ryan. So I just finished This Could Be Us. I read Before I Let Go right before that, and I've got Can't Get Enough up front. I just started on that one this morning. So naturally, these might be my next review just because it'll be fresh on my mind. And yeah, that's it, y'all. Hope y'all join me for next time. Bye.